Hi, this is Steve Young for the Co-Roundtable. I want to share a kind of a strange thought I had recently. I've been writing a bit and talking a bit about what are the implications of governments creating all kinds of money, of liquidity in various ways. The most recent thing here in the United States is last week President Biden made as the centerpiece of his administration the spending of, query where's it going to come from because they don't have the cash, $6 trillion if he can get the Congress to approve it. Well, that's a lot of money. And what happens is this will be money primarily created by government, sent in the form of some sort of a check or something to various people for various reasons, supporting healthcare, supporting education, supporting people in poverty, building infrastructure, starting new programs, and then the federal government will either print it or the Federal Reserve will inject reserves into the economy by buying up financial instruments. And at some point, theoretically, this is all debt, it'll have to be paid. But what happens to anything when the amount gets really, really big? This is old-fashioned sort of microeconomics, that if you have two things, each of which is pretty important, but if you have 200 of the same things, and you misplace one or two, or your grandchild takes 3 or 4, you don't probably get upset. And that idea, I think the economists call marginal utility. If you only have a few, the extra value added of one thing is a lot. If you have lots of stuff, lots of dollars, lots of toys, whatever it is, lots of vegetables in your garden, which you and your wife, your spouse can't eat, marginal utility of an extra carrot is pretty low. So what happens when money, I think the world, humanity has never seen the amount of liquidity floating around as we have in current times, 2021, really over the last 20 years. All really as a function of government responding to various crises, but also trying to make sure that stock markets keep rising, that financial companies, banks don't collapse for various reasons. But are we doing something that sort of is changing the way we think about money, changing our culture? My sense from history teachers is that, for a long time, going back to the invention of money, whether it's iron tokens in China or bronze things or coins in ancient Greece and Rome, that money was very closely associated with personality. It was our property, it was ours. And it gave rise to this notion of us as individuals, as owning things, as having power. So I look at fundamentally money as an expression of power. But if the marginal utility of money is basically nothing, is it really a private thing anymore? Or is it just a kind of a public good which floats around? And maybe the idea of sort of this floating public good is that, hey, it has no special relationship to me or anybody else, so therefore I can get as much of it as I want. I don't have to work for it. The old idea is private property is it comes out of my intelligence being applied, my labor being applied, my working with other people, bringing in a harvest of corn, raising pigs, whatever it was. So I'm just wondering now if we aren't, particularly in the younger generation, my grandparents would say, well, we're spoiling the kids, because it's like giving everybody allowance. Easy come, easy go. And my question is, what's the moral and ethical consequence of that kind of thinking?